is 21-year-old Caden Rumler, who barely survived a run-in with an ICE goon in Minnesota who was using so-called less lethal force, and it damn near killed him. Hi, my name is Suri Crowe, and you're watching the MeidasTouch Network. Meanwhile, over on Capitol Hill, here's what our esteemed Senate leader on the Democratic side is focused on today, as Trump is threatening to enact martial law.
In the weeks and months to come, the American people will also hear from Democrats on other areas where we're fighting to lower costs. As I mentioned, food costs, energy costs, groceries, health care, child care, and so many other things Americans pay for every day. Democrats are ready to get to work. And as I said, costs, the high cost of living, the affordability crisis, will be our focus throughout 2026.
Minnesota is under paramilitary occupation. People are quite literally dying, being assaulted, kidnapped, and Chuck Schumer is droning on with his talking points. This is what we're focused on. I saw that and I became apoplectic. I mean, what? And I apparently wasn't the only one, because the comments were many, many. D.S. Peterson 24 wrote, "This is who's leading Senate Democrats today as federal goons flood a major U.S. city and authoritarian threats escalate. Chuck Schumer's response is affordability crisis, eye roll emoji." So Above writes, affordability, says the man who couldn't even bring himself to endorse Zohran Mamdani for running on that very platform. He and Jeffries need to be primaried into the sun. And then Justin Lewis Sr. said, Schumer is absolutely useless and Jeffries is no better. They've been nothing but ineffective, and it is time to toss their asses out of Washington, because these leaders clearly aren't capable of leading. They just keep fucking us over time and again. I've honestly grown to despise them in a similar way that I despise Mike Johnson. Ouch. Mama Paws writes, so let me get this straight. You and Jeffries were too afraid of pissing off your donors to full-throatedly endorse Zohran Mamdani, who ran a disciplined campaign that put the word affordability on everyone's minds and lips. But now that we have essentially a police state being brutally imposed upon our cities and a president who is trying his best to invoke the Insurrection Act, and you are only going to focus on affordability, for the love of God, step the fuck down. Just continuous, I didn't see one positive comment. Then there is Schumer's equally feckless counterpart, in my opinion, Minority House Leader Hakeem Jeffries, who, despite polls showing that the overwhelming number of Americans disapprove of ICE and are actually for abolishing ICE, despite those polls, Hakeem Jeffries is like, no, let's not abolish it. Let's do this.
There is a growing movement, not 50% of people who want to abolish ICE. There is certainly some kind of political backlash of that 5 years ago. But explain, you're trying to win back the House. You're trying to become the Speaker. Why is that not the answer right now?
Well, listen, I think clearly significant reform needs to take place as it relates to the manner in which ICE is conducting itself. ICE is using taxpayer dollars to brutalize American citizens and to unnecessarily and viciously target law-abiding immigrant families and communities. The whole premise that Donald Trump sold to the American people was that this immigration enforcement activity was going to target violent felons. It's not targeting violent felons. They're targeting American families, brutalizing American communities. And now, as we've seen, killing American citizens. This is out of control, and the American people aren't going to stand for it. So certainly we need massive reform to the way in which ICE and the Department of Homeland Security are currently conducting themselves.
The ever-loving mother of word salad. What the actual fuck was that? Reform? No. Hakeem, no. By the way, and this is just a personal gripe of mine, the man who aspires to have the power of the gavel as Speaker of the House can't even be bothered to have humans answering his phone lines on Capitol Hill. I know this because I call his office at least once a week, and everybody else has people who will answer their office phone lines, but not Hakeem. He's too good for that. I just find that inexcusable. Here's what Wanting Oatmeal writes. Hakeem Jeffries is a fucking AIPAC puppet. He cannot be trusted. There's no reforming. There's no coming back from the harm they've caused. No amount of change will ever buy back the trust of the American people. ICE must be abolished. End of story. And then middle finger and an ice cube. And you can translate that. Brucey writes, no one wants Rep. Jeffries as a speaker. He is a profound disappointment to everyone. Replace him. And again, the comments went on and on and on. I mean, people were just apoplectic, furious with him. And then pontificator known as Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey has also announced his idea for helping with this occupation of violent ICE agents. Let's reform them. Let's have more stringent training. More stringent training, yes, along with Hakeem, Senator Alyssa Slotkin, and the majority of Democrats in Congress. Booker's answer is more training. And on top of that, Senator Booker won't even entertain the idea of shutting the government down to defund these violent ICE thugs.
This patriots of good conscience who say this is unacceptable under any president have to begin to stand up. And I'm working across the aisle to try to pull more people back to sanity.
So on that question, again, on the shutting down the government over this question, are you telling me that you believe you have Republicans who would join you to force new accountability rules so that shutting down the government wouldn't have to be an option?
So we could say things like shutting down the government. We saw what happened. We had the longest government shutdown in a while. Democrats could not hold together to sustain that kind of pressure. What I am saying right now is we, the people, because the power of the people is greater than the people in the power, more people are going to have to put pressure on Republicans who are getting closer and closer to their reelections. Start putting pressure on them and saying, if you are not accountable to the people, we'll get new people and replace you. And that is starting to have an effect.
I mean, the spinelessness of Democrats right now, particularly Senate Democrats, including my own senators, Mark Warner, and especially Senator Tim Kaine. I have a special place in bad Senate hell for Tim Kaine. And it's funny that Booker mentions what we the people want, because he and most of the Democrats in the Senate, the ones I just mentioned, seem to be completely unaware of, or worse, they just don't give a fuck. Work across the aisle with the fascists? How well has that worked out for us so far, senators? Huh? I mean, here's what we, the people, are actually saying about you. Jackson Tings writes, Booker wants to rigorously train the Klan? Be for real, for real. Stop pretending ICE isn't the Klan and start doing your jobs. This isn't fixable, trainable, or monitorable. Abolish ICE and arrest this entire regime for treason and war crimes. Mayor Mamdani, and this is not the actual Mayor Mamdani, it's an account that follows what Mayor Mamdani is doing, writes, Brad Lander today, ICE must be abolished. Cory Booker today, ICE must be given more training and wear body cameras. Spot the difference? I sure do. Stephen Wishoff writes, the problem with badly trained Nazis is not that they're badly trained, it's that they're Nazis. You don't train Nazis, you abolish them. Couldn't agree more. Professor Zenkis writes, add Cory Booker to the ever-growing list of Democrats who are willing to do absolutely nothing to stop ICE from terrorizing our communities. And then the news just keeps getting better, guys. Qasim Rashid posted this. After 153 Democrats just joined 188 Republicans to pass House Resolution 7006, which sends $3.3 billion to Israel, including offensive weapons, bans any attempt at Palestinian liberation. The bill reads that there are absolutely no provisions whatsoever for a two-state solution. Nope. No. We have to keep the Palestinians hostage and we're just going to keep firing American-funded bombs at them. Sends $50 million to Venezuela. I also read through more of the bill. The bill also appropriates $90 million for the Caribbean Basin Security Initiative. I guess this is for Petey Pete's drug interdictions, where he just bombs and blows people out of the water in their little fishing boats. Only 57 Democrats voted no on this legislation, and Americans still don't have health care. Oh, but Israel, which has universal health care, we're funding them. We're funding their genocide. We're funding that country. And just to let you know where this legislation lands, AIPAC immediately released a press release celebrating the passage of this legislation. AIPAC applauds the House of Representatives for passing critical pro-Israel provisions, including $3.3 billion, and on and on and on it goes. So that tells you how shitty that bill is, because AIPAC is celebrating it. And here come the comments. I don't know how to say this person's name. Democrats in Congress no longer represent Democrats in the streets. A damn shame. Sam Yarn Company writes, collectively, we have elected some truly fucking horrible people. California Loving Life writes, for fuck's sake, they need to stop funding the killing of people in Gaza. Why are we funding Israel? Why are we sending millions to Venezuela? Heather Brown Smith writes, at Senate Dems, at the Democrats, House Democrats, from here on out, you will receive absolutely no money from our household. And I, as a lifelong Democrat, today, I consider myself an independent. It's become increasingly plain to me this party is not the party it claims to be. It is beholden to lobbyists and corporate interests. I feel betrayed, but at least I'm not naive any longer. Jenna Does Vids writes, it's never really been left versus right. It's always been us versus them. Exploring 7x7 writes, Rep. Jeffries pretty much hates the base at this point. I don't think the message could be any clearer. Speaker Pelosi, of course, she's now Speaker Emerita. How can you support these constant betrayals? House Democrats, your betrayal of what this party is supposed to stand for is very much clear to voters. The comments went on. And if you want to know where the party stands, well, right there we have it. It stands with AIPAC, with the pro-Israel lobby. Hakeem Jeffries has received nearly $2 million from the pro-Israel Zionist lobby that is funding genocide. And he's not the only one. In fact, the majority of people in Congress, obviously on the Republican side, but the majority of Democrats are completely bought and paid for by AIPAC and a number of other big lobbies. So this is the rot and corruption in Washington. It is just gross. It is gross. They're not representing what the majority of Americans want. And by the way, this is interesting. It's not just those of us on the left. It's also a growing number of young people on the right. People are tired of the United States just being the big teat that Israel sucks off of at will. Like Israel says, jump America, and our government goes, how high? How much money you want this time? Really gross. I have become so much more educated about the way our political systems work in the last several years. Money has infected our system. AIPAC is poison, as are any big corporate lobbyists, because Congress is no longer representing the people. It's not. I mean, right now, Americans are struggling. We are fighting an authoritarian takeover, a fascist army that hires literal criminals to terrorize us. I've been going through the lists of all these ICE agents that have been released despite the Trump regime trying to shut it down. A good number of them are J6 terrorists. I mean, they're Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, One Percenters, the people who stormed the Capitol. And they're getting paid more than $200,000 a year with our tax dollars. I mean, Americans can't pay rent, never mind buy a home right now, cannot afford groceries. Republicans have once again blocked healthcare subsidies, never mind the dream of us ever having universal healthcare. But 153 Democratic lawmakers just voted to fund Israel, a nation that has free education and free healthcare. Are you effing kidding me? And we're sending more money to Venezuela. Don't forget, we've sent billions to Argentina. And then there's Ukraine, the actual country that is the bulwark of democracy. But they're left out in the cold. Why independent media is so important. Not every independent person. Be careful of who you follow. And if you want to know, you can message me outside of here. Mainstream media is on the side of the Zionists. It's on the side of the corporate lobbyists. There is no reason that America should be funding Israel, a government that is committing genocide. And by the way, I'm fine using that word. I've reported on this. There are Jewish scholars of genocide, and they should know, who have called it a genocide. And that's because it is. And we're funding it. Like, the hypocrisy is just disgusting. If you want to know who is on the take and for what, go to AIPAC Tracker, type your representative's name in, your senator, your representative, and it'll tell you right, boom, then and there, if they are on the take or not. People like AOC, she's completely grassroots funded. She has a Green for Go, Bernie Sanders, Becca Lynch, and some others. If you're in Texas and you're wanting to know who to vote for Senate, Jasmine Crockett is on the no-go list for AIPAC. She voted for this hideous legislation today. Just FYI, be educated, be informed about who you're voting for. It's just distressing when at this critical moment in America, where our country is just collapsing, that our own Democratic representatives who are supposed to be for democracy are utterly failing the moment under an authoritarian regime. It's unbelievable to me, and yet very believable when you see who's buttering their bread, greed. In my opinion, we need to rebuild the entire Democratic Party. The whole system is rotten to its core. So on that positive note, let me know what you think in the comments below. And please follow me on my socials, especially Instagram and on Substack. I'm really trying to grow those platforms right now, and it makes a difference to me. I spend hours and hours and hours researching my stories and looking and just really trying to glean a lot of information so I can report it back to you guys. And I do that without any outside resources or support. It's just me. I'm a one-woman show. That's it. So any support you guys can show me on those platforms is greatly appreciated. All right. I will see you back here soon. A moment in history when we are trying to find our way. I am definitely praying for peace.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.